Welcome. We are here for the second edition of the Café on co-creating climate neutral cities. And we'll be talking today about effective stakeholder engagement and energy communities in positive and clean energy districts. The session is fully recorded. It will be afterwards also cut out, and any snippets, any reels, any recording of your voice and of your face will be then used also for further promotion of the cafe. If that is not okay with you, please state so now or remain forever silent. Hereby, when you are staying on the cafe, you will be then recorded, and if you are not willing to do so, please then remove yourself from the cafe. We have here two distinguished speakers from the Ascend project. We have today Jörgen Lööf from the electricity in Stockholm, and we have Bruno Gaiddon from HESPUL in Lyon. My name is Veronika. I'm from TWNTY. I will be guiding you throughout the cafe. I will be also bringing in a bit more of the, let's say, layman's voice into the conversation, so that if in any case you would like anything answered or explained, please do not hesitate. Either raise your hand, post your question in the chat, or ask. And our experts will also answer as much as they can. A couple of housekeeping rules. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to do so, but please also let others finish when they are speaking. If you have any comments, we also have a dedicated session on questions and answers. And if there is something that you would like to also share, please also use your chat. We have about an hour for the discussion, and I'm really looking forward to it, because I'm sure there will be a lot of new and good things that you are going to learn. So let's dive right in. As I said, we are going to talk about energy communities and then about stakeholder engagement on the city level. How do we develop energy communities? Why do we develop them? And most importantly, also why they are important. Then we want to also dive a bit further on how they are run and what is the most important in case you would like to yourself start creating an energy community. We've asked already ahead of time on LinkedIn our followers what comes first to your mind when you hear about energy communities. The answers were quite interesting, and I was myself quite surprised, because we saw that about more than half of the respondents answered local power. And of course, that can be explained in several ways, but I would like to hear also from Jörgen and Bruno. What do you make of this? What word would you have used if you had to answer this question, and how do you translate that more or than half of the respondents said local power? Jörgen.
I like that phrase, local power. I mean, for me, it's engagement, right? To engage people and actively taking part of energy consumption and production.
And Bruno, do you also agree?
Yes, and for me, it's a very good question to start with, because within Ascend, I have always been pushing for a clarification of this very broad-term energy community, and I fully agree with what is written there. But I would have answered energy sharing projects, because this is what basically the cities are doing within Ascend, most of them.
Okay. And what do you make out of local power? How does that translate to you? Is that the same of what we are doing in Ascend, or is it a bit different?
No, for me, it's really the same. So local power, as Jörgen said, has also different meanings. Local power to the people, or I see that as I am an electrical engineer, local power production, because I mean, it was the meaning, I think, of these two words. And we are talking about positive and clean energy districts. And the P positive means that there are production systems installed within the districts.
Yeah.
I fully agree with that also.
Great. So I'm glad that our experts and the LinkedIn followers are all aligned.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very good sign already. And now we've already started a bit. What do energy communities mean to you? So Jörgen, you've started with the power to the people.
Mm-hmm.
Here to expand on that a bit and tell us a bit more. What does an energy community mean?
But basically, it is about creating engagement, right? And also, in our case, we had a DSO coming to us because they had problems with grid congestion. So we figured that we could actually help the DSO. So that's why we started it.
And Bruno, you've already started describing the energy communities in Ascent and the relation to the grid. Is there something else you would like to add? What does an energy community mean to you?
Maybe I can also say or mention what it could also mean to other people, because I think it's also good to mention that. So in some cases, an energy community is also a group of people that invest money to build PV systems, and it could be very far away from where they live. But this is also something that we call in France an energy community. And also the third possibility is also people that lives in an area where there were no electrical grid or a weak electrical grid, and they together work to improve or to develop the local electricity grid. And this is what has been done in northern part of Italy, for instance. So there are many different meanings of energy communities, but as I said, within ASEN, the topic that we use, or the meaning that we use, is our energy sharing project. It means that the possibility to use the production of a solar system spread, shared among different consumers located in the same district.
Yep, indeed. And since we are here from the Ascent project, and in Ascent we are saying that we are accelerating and building the positive clean energy districts. Why are then energy communities so important to PCEDs? What is it that makes it so important?
Still me?
Yes, Bruno, please.
So for me, it's very important to involve inhabitants in the PCED. As I said, the P of PCED means positive. It means that there will be solar electric systems installed, and the D means that the people lives in the district. And for me, building an energy community project is a way to share the value, the benefits created by the solar energy between the inhabitants of the district. So to improve, let's say, their quality of life. This is very broad, but to share the value really, and to give them also to increase the feeling to be part, or to be part of the district, to live in the district. So this is something really important for us.
Mm-hmm. And Jörgen, why are the energy communities important when you are trying to build a positive, clean energy district?
I think it's a very good starting point to start with the energy questions, right? And here in Hammarby Sjöstad, it had moved to e-mobility and circular economy projects as well. So we're trying to take a holistic approach. But energy is excellent to start with because there's some money to be saved, right? And that can actually, support the rest.
Yeah, you're anticipating already a couple of benefits of energy communities. And I'm glad that we will get to that a bit later. I would like to, however, dig a bit deeper here. I think it was Bruno that has mentioned that some places in Italy where they did not have full access to the energy grid, so they created an energy community to have better conditions. So what are actually all of these issues that energy communities solve? That, for example, the traditional energy systems do not, either they cannot or they are not available, or for one reason or the other. What is it that the energy communities solve better? And here I'm going to start with Jörgen.
Well, first of all, the property owners that we are addressing, this is housing associations in the city district that I'm living in. I mean, the city does not have any say in what's happening in these properties. So energy communities, are actually addressing these properties that the city does not have any say in. So that's what we can do, right? We can work on all the buildings that they cannot.
Yeah.
I think that's sort of one of the biggest issues.
Yeah. Bruno, what about in Lyon, or what are the issues that can, or elsewhere even, what are the issues that energy communities can solve better?
So in Lyon, I am the technical assistant of a urban company in charge of building a district called the Lyon Confluence. And in this district, we have installed many PV systems, more than 50. So there's almost photovoltaic systems everywhere. And in the past, most of these systems were selling their electricity to the grid, and the value was just disappearing from the district, because sometimes they were third-party investors or professional electricity company that were investing money on the roofs to export electricity from the district. So there was no value for the inhabitants. And this is why, with the urban designer, we decided to build energy communities just to make the inhabitants benefit from the solar panels, solar systems installed on the roofs.
Yep. Do you think that energy communities can be created easily? And how can we create one so easily? And I'm going to now give the word to Jörgen, because I'm sure that he can give us an example from electricity.
I mean, we started with organizing a community of property owners, right? That's how we did it. And then we turned that into an economic association. And then we brought in experts from academia, companies, and also the city of Stockholm to get some advice on how to do this properly. So we're not doing the wrong things. Maybe we did in some cases anyway, but nevertheless, we learned along the way. But that's how we did it.
Okay. And Bruno, in Lyon's case, I know that you are approaching it a bit more from the technical point of view, but if you had to kind of extrapolate on how to create an energy community from scratch through building a lot of PVs on buildings or other means.
And no, it's true that our approach was at the beginning technical. And for me, my answer, because it is my daily work to help cities to create an energy community. And so there are those two starting points, actually. there is one starting point with the inhabitants, the local stakeholders, to involve them. But another starting point, which is also really important, is to have a production system. So you need to work on both sides. So on the technical side, just to build a production system, a solar production system, and also to know to who you will share the energy, and to discuss that with local stakeholders and inhabitants to co-create actually the energy community.
I want to hear more about how you have actually done it, and I know that you have both brought several use cases, so that we don't only talk about the theory on how it was or could be created, but that we have really more details on how it actually is currently in place, both in Stockholm and in Lyon. So I would like to ask Jörgen first to tell us about electricity and the citizen initiative in Stockholm, and how it came to be to create the energy community that then, as you already anticipated, has gone further to mobility and other.
Okay, so I'll go ahead. I have 5 minutes. So I represent Electricity, which is a citizen initiative here in Hammarby Sjöstad, and we're about 11 people running approximately 11 projects yearly. And the reason as to why we work with cities is that cities occupy 3% of the Earth's surface, but accounts for 70% of the CO2 emissions. Now, we do have a membership organization with about 90 members and partners. This is one half, and this is the other. And they're, companies, startups, big ones, academia, as I said, and authorities in some cities. And this is our fourth leg, the citizen in Hammarby Sjöstad. This is our living, breathing testbed, and they pay for all these innovations. Not funded, they pay for the innovations. So we work with energy, transportation, circular economy, and digitalization to get this holistic view on how to tackle the climate issue. So I'm here to talk about the energy challenge today in Hammarby Sjöstad. And Hammarby Sjöstad is one of the most sustainable city districts ever built. But when we moved in 2001, everything was happy. But 10 years later, we figured that the energy systems were not really performing as expected, plus that we had a challenge of grid congestion in Stockholm. So, sorry, I pressed the wrong one. So energy, where to start? I mean, we're all amateurs living in these properties. And we got the advice to do an eco drive with Willy, the guy with hair here. He's Sweden's foremost energy expert. He taught me as an energy manager in my house. I'm not a civil engineer, I'm a communicator. But nevertheless, he taught me how my house works, the energy system, that is right, but also gave me a priority list on what to work on. And not only me, but Charlie behind him, who's now saved 80% of his energy costs. And energy then. So what could possibly go wrong? Well, the design could be faulty to begin with. And then the people interpreting the designs could go wrong, right? And thirdly, the maintenance is usually poorly executed. So our very first research project was to gather all the big property owners in Sweden. So first of all, we told them to actually educate the people doing the technical maintenance. But then we came up with this model that you have to work with optimization and maintenance to begin with, right? Then you might get on to investments and then eventually change heating systems if that's profitable. So that's the system we worked on. And so we did, check out all the energy efficiencies, low-hanging fruit, like changing into LED, etc. And then we run these energy meetings, and we've been doing it now for 11 years, where we educate all the energy managers. And we share experience. which is very important. And we have a fun time. We drink beer and eat pizzas. And then we also do joint procurement. So we gather all our energy investments in one bag. And it's been a lot over the years. So we also get a discount, right? So I think we invested roughly about 25 million euros, and that's citizens' money. It's not coming from the city or EU or anything like that. So this means that 28 housing associations has now 50% less purchased energy, saving around 16 gigawatt hours yearly. And here is our energy community board, and they're very interested in making an energy class journey. We're using these broad ideas, right? Because everybody knows what an energy class is. So we're moving buildings from E to B. And the guy there in the white shirt has done that and is saving about 100,000 euros yearly. I don't know why. It should have said it's profitable to be climate smart. Something happened here. Anyway, so we also launched a digital platform so we can collaborate in between these meetings and communicate and also inspire others. So we're spreading now what we call the electricity model to other districts in Stockholm. And so why do we do this? Well, the benefit for the real estate is reduced energy costs, an operational electricity in case of power failure, and also, of course, engagement. And the benefit for the district is increased resilience and reduced power requirement, where we started. And the benefit for the environment is, of course, increased renewable, locally produced electricity. I'm not sure what happened here. And of course, reduced environmental impact. And finally, benefit for the society is a working model for energy communities. And then also scaling of the electricity model. So that's me, and my contact is there. Thank you. Oops, sorry, I did it prostate.
Thank you very much, Jörgen. I thought there was a very interesting way of how you approached the whole problem and how it stemmed really from the bottom up, as opposed to coming up with some kind of a project or a grant to start with. And you've clearly proven a lot of success because you are going up to other Stockholm districts. So I'm really hoping that you can soon have a lot of the Stockholm under your electricity model.
Hope so too.
I know that we have Lisa on the call. So before I give the word to Bruno, is there something else that you would like to add from the Stockholm point of view, Lisa?
No, I think that's really good what they have been doing in electricity, and now we're trying to learn from their work and see if we can also help on spreading it to the rest of Stockholm. And I think also it's interesting, as you say, Jörgen, that the DSO, that was one of the problems that you wanted to solve. And I know you have told us before that sometimes when the grid was really congested, they have called you and asked you to reduce some of the electricity use that hour, and that's really interesting to get those close connections with the DSO.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much, Lisa. Lisa is from the Stockholm city and part of the ASEN project. So,
and I also want to add one of the benefits which you talked about earlier, but you didn't have it now in the presentation. Of course, the social benefit that you really learn to know each other, and you started with the energy, and now you're doing so many other things connected to sustainability work in the area.
Yeah, now we're turning into a fashion hub. We have 2 textile projects. Let's see what that happens.
So you started with the energy, and you're going to take over luxury fashion in Paris.
Yeah,
Looking
yeah.
forward to that. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the electricity presentation, and also for the very valid points from the Stockholm city. Now let's go to the other part of Europe, and we have Bruno Gaiddon from HESPUL, who will be talking about what the energy communities look like in Lyon, and what is his organization doing in supporting that. Please, Bruno.
Thank you, Veronika. Yes, so I am the co-director of a not-for-profit organization, HESPUL, which has been funded 35 years ago by citizens, actually. So a group of 100 citizens, but this wasn't traditional citizens, because most of them were elected people, politicians from the Green Party. And by that time, they wanted to build a first of its kind, and I mean the first grid-connected PV system in France, and they managed to build this in 1992. And the founders of our association could be very proud, because right now in France, after this first kilowatt peak that has been installed in 1992, we have today more than 30 gigawatt of PV systems in operation. So it was a great idea by that time. And now the objective of our not-for-profit organization is to promote photovoltaic systems in France. And we run the National Info Center of Photovoltaic, which is funded by the French state. So it's more now validated by the French state. And what do we do with the city to help them to build an energy community? So first, we have some people that can help cities to organize conferences, training session, awareness raising campaign, just to engage people of their territory. And once they want to go and set up an energy community, so as I said, we can provide assistance to build the PV systems of cities. So this is a technical work, as we said before. And in order to help them to organize the energy sharing project, so now it's more a matter of establishing contracts, so electricity contracts, and so it's related to legal issues, and we also provide assistance to build that. And once the PV system has been built, we also help cities just to operate the PV system and organize the sharing of electricity, because it requires work to operate this kind of projects. So this is what we do and what we provide to the cities, not only in Lyon, but everywhere in France, let's say. And now I just would like to give 2 examples of projects that are running in Lyon. So in our project developed by SPL Lyon Confluence in the city center of Lyon. So the first one that you see on the left is quite large condominium, because there is 170 flats. It's a group of 5 buildings, and you see that on the top of these buildings you see solar panels. And we have designed an energy sharing project. It was the first one in Lyon. It is running now since 2022, and we have so in total 5 PV systems, and all the production of these PV systems is shared between approximately 50 inhabitants of this building block. So, and the electricity is shared free of charge, because most of the inhabitants of this block are also owners of their flats, and when they bought their flat, they have bought a part of the PV system. So this is why they can benefit free of charge of the electricity. And so it's running. It's still not running properly 3 or 4 years after, just because there is a storage system, and the storage system is quite complex to set up, and it's still not working very properly. But the PV system and the sharing of the production between the 50 users is fine. And then there is a second project on the right of the screen, and this is what we are currently developing within Ascent. So we have right now a prototype. A prototype means we have one PV system in operation since 2023. And this PV system produces electricity, which is shared between 2 consumers right now, so just 2. And our work within Ascent is to scale up this prototype. Scaling up means that we are adding additional PV systems to have more electricity to share. And we are now, with the project developer of the area, we are now organizing the consultation of inhabitants, just to increase the amount of consumers, because so far it was just the prototype. And this is an ongoing project, and we expect to fully scale it up at the end of Ascent. It means at the end of next year, 2027.
May I ask, to how many consumers or consumer entities do you plan to scale it up to? From the 2 to what is the maximum, or what is the plan?
There is no maximum, but it could be hundreds. Okay. There is no maximum, and we have to start this work to inform inhabitants of our work, but we have no specific target number at this stage.
Okay. So in theory, it could be all of the inhabitants of those buildings, correct?
Yes, but there is a maximum distance between the participants. It's 2 kilometers, and 2 kilometers is approximately the size of the district. So it could be theoretically all the inhabitants of the district, and then the challenge becomes to have enough power to share.
Okay. And we have a question from Lisa as well.
Yeah. So is it you put the PVs and the buildings that are part of the or connected with these PVs? Do they always have PVs on their own building, or is it that they are like the PV is on one building and then maybe 5 buildings around this part of it, and it's sharing between them, or how does it work?
If you look at the picture on the left, you see that, so in total you see 7 buildings, and among the 7 buildings there are 2. One has, so the 2 others have green roofs. So not all the buildings have a PV system, and of course the objective is to share the electricity also with the inhabitants of the building without any PV. So
so they are also paying for part of the investment, or
no, but if they want to benefit from the cheap electricity, they could.
Yeah, they could be part owners.
Yeah, and now except for this first project, now the inhabitants don't have to pay for the investment, because the investment is done by the public company, by the project developer SPL Lyon Confluence. So they just have the possibility, if they want, to buy a part of the electricity produced by these PV systems at a cheap price.
Thank you very much, and that was very interesting and great to understand. I would like to be interested to see who is then interested and who is joining the project for the scale up in Ascent. Before we jump to the next part of our discussion, I'd like to ask our audience whether there are any further clarification questions, either to Jörgen or to Bruno, on what they have presented on electricity and on HESPUL's work in Lyon. Seems like everything was super clear. So that is a congratulations to your two presentations. And let's... okay, we have, yes, Valdis, please.
Yeah, hi. Would you, in short, explain economical benefits of energy community in Sweden?
Okay. Well, basically, energy community, but it's, you know, all the housing associations are making their own investments, and that has been in geothermal and PVs, etc. Unfortunately, sharing between housing associations are not profitable because our taxations and what and the electricity costs, I mean the net costs, are not deducted in any way yet. I mean, we're far behind the rest of you guys in Europe, unfortunately, but hopefully we'll get some deductions going when it comes to that here as well.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, you can do it with a physical cable. That's one way to do it, your own cable, but that's nothing we're really embarking on, because that would mean digging up streets and double cables, and I don't find that sustainable.
Yes, but you can do by your own cable distribution between members of energy community.
Yeah, but that would mean, you know, digging into the streets, and that's a very high cost. We're looking into another one now to do it through the internet, but that's a different story. Very technical.
But the benefits, I mean, the condominium or the housing association does the investments, and at least for some years ago, then when the energy was quite expensive, then it wasn't very many years to earn the money for that investment. But now it's quite low again, so so now it's a longer time before the investment is paid off. Right, Jörgen?
Well, depending on what you're talking about. I mean, if district heating is not cheaper, that's gone up. So geothermal, if you're doing that, that's much cheaper.
Yeah.
And electricity, no, I wouldn't say that. But you know, storing electricity in batteries, that's a different story. That's not profitable today, unfortunately.
But those who invested in solar panels and the geothermals have a cheaper energy cost.
Yes, definitely.
Now. So that's the benefit, the financial benefit.
Right.
Thank you, Valdis, for the question. And you have actually anticipated my next point, because we've asked again on LinkedIn, what would make you, our followers, want to participate in an energy community? And the answer was lowering energy costs. So one of the biggest motivators is not, let's say, sustainability or participating in a community, but is to cut their own costs on the daily or on the monthly. And so with that, I'd like to ask a bit more on, do you also see the same? What makes the citizens actually participate? Is it the cost, or is it also wanting to be a part of the community? Because you have mentioned that before, Jörgen, that it's good for the people to feel a part of the district.
Yeah.
Do you think it's more important to be a part of a district, or is it more that they are lowering the energy costs?
Well, I mean, I agree with that. The lower energy cost, that's a good starting point. But the other thing that arose when we started an energy community was the resilience part.
Mm.
And that was after Ukraine got hit, right? So the resilience is a big thing now.
Yeah.
And that's not even profitable to do, right? And the resilience part. But still, they want to invest in that. But other than that, I think that knowledge is something that's sort of attractive to know how your system works and what you can do to improve it. As I said before, profitability, absolutely. But then we shouldn't forget the fun part. Because when we meet, and we've been meeting now for 11 years, it's the same people. And they love to come to these energy meetings because we have fun.
That is definitely very important. And it seems like that fun and having fun is a big part of the governance model then.
Correct.
Bruno, would you agree that the people in Lyon, they also want to meet in an energy community and have fun? Or is it more about saving costs? Because you have mentioned that in Lyon, they either have, or they can benefit from very cheap energy prices, or from not having to pay for the electricity that is produced by the PVs that they have originally invested in when they bought the apartment.
And it's true that these co-owners, they meet once a year, just because they have the obligation to organize a general assembly.
Okay.
And they meet once a year to discuss the production system and the way it has been shared. And I don't know if it's a funny place,
okay,
but they do it.
Okay. Well, maybe they should also buy pizza like in Stockholm, and maybe that's...
Yes.
I was wondering, following up on that, in terms of the governance, what are the governance models that actually work best here? Do you see any better ones than others, or can you draw comparisons?
I see two different models actually. In France, there are citizen-driven projects, so fully designed and operated by citizens, and we have that in Lyon as well, not in our district, but elsewhere, and some of my colleagues are part of that actually. And we also see city-driven projects, more institutional, let's say, and each of them has benefits because so citizen-driven projects in Lyon are generally smaller, let's say, but people are very active and strongly involved to design the PV system, to meet and to operate them, and in opposition to the city-driven projects that are larger, but the involvement is not the same, but the financial benefits are also better.
Yeah.
But the two models exist.
Yeah. Jörgen? Yeah.
Yeah, so when we're running our projects, we're very keen on gathering all our stakeholders, like the companies, the academia, all the experts in the city, just so the projects are beneficial to all, basically. So looking at the needs of all stakeholders is very important.
Okay. we spoke several times about whether it's a project, whether it's a community, how do actually people then get involved? And I hear that in Stockholm it's a lot more also. I mean, of course, it's about managing the energy community, but it's also a lot about fun and creating a community. Yeah. And in Lyon, it's also a lot more about the technical aspects of it and how it was installed, and the community part comes after in these yearly meetings. So is it more, is energy community more a project, or is it really something that should be a community and district, and we should strive really to engage all of the citizens through the energy community, that we use the, let's say, the lower prices as a gateway to creating a true community that then takes care of other aspects and then responds also to other triggers such as resilience later on.
Who wants to start?
You answer, Jörgen, please.
Okay, so but you know, the community comes up with projects, right? So we're trying to motivate the people in our community to come up with ideas, and they all have ideas, and then we run it through our experts, and then eventually becomes a project.
Okay.
That's how we work, basically.
So the community has a lot of projects, and that is the setup.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Bruno? Would you agree?
No, I think it's not a matter of agreement, but I think our projects in Lyon are quite different to what is doing Jörgen in Stockholm. And it's true that my feeling, if I understand the questions, we start with a project and we expect to build a community from that.
Yeah.
I think it's the way it is.
Yeah. Lisa, please.
Yeah, I think the big difference is that from the electricity horizon or perspective, it's driven from the citizens, and that's why it's another kind of community and neighbors that wants to do something together. While from the Lyon case, it's more not from the bottom up perspective. It's more from decided in the project that this is something that we should do, and it's more difficult to gather the engagement in that way when it doesn't come from the roots.
Yeah, just let me clarify. When we're having our energy meetings, we run those thematically. So saying that now we want to lower the water consumption. And then when we bring in, you know, the water companies that can actually provide that from academia on what we should do and the city. And that's how, and then we think about that and what we can do to, you know, as far as project goes.
Yeah. I do find it extremely interesting on how you run those energy meetings and how the whole electricity and energy the energy community in Hammarby shows that is organized. I also do think that it seems that whether you start with a community or whether you start with a project and develop then the community is almost irrelevant, because one will work in one setup in one country and the other one will work in another setup in another country better, and perhaps there is a third way of how to do that.
Exactly.
That would work in a completely different setting, and I'm very glad to have all of these various options that others that are interested could select from and see which fits best for their own community, their own district, their own setup.
Exactly.
I would like to understand a bit more, though, about the financing. We've started discussing that a bit with the question of Valdis. We also touched upon that the energy community is usually a great motivator for people to cut down their own costs, but as a whole, the energy community needs also to have some kind of a financing. And I would like to understand on what are the best ways of financing an energy community, what from your practical experience works, and can it actually sustain financially on a long term?
Should I start?
Yes, you may. Yep.
Okay, so the financial models, as I said, right, it's the housing association that pays for the energy equipment. And, if they're only going to do it if it's profitable. So then it's up to the technical and the investors to give us some, calculations going. So that's the first thing. And then you have the energy community, which has their own boards and are there to optimize and help the community even more so, right? And they have a membership fee. That's an economic association, which it's not that expensive at all. But secondly, trying to create income streams for energy community, that's the tough part. So if we finally one day get sharing of electricity, then we found out a model that the energy community will get a slice of that share. It's sharing energy or sharing electricity is about saving costs. It's not like you make money, but you're sharing costs instead of putting it out on a net. So the energy community will then get a slice of that, and the DSO and the electricity company. So everybody's getting a piece of the pie there. So all are happy. That's how we want to work it out.
Do you have a timeline for when it will be actually, I guess, legally viable in Sweden?
Yeah, legally we can do it now, but it's not going to be profitable because they have to, hopefully give us some incentives when it comes to taxation. But we're working on the first invoice, which is basically what it's all about, because you have the DSO with the meters, and they can provide the information if A is overproducing and B is buying it, right? And then it's up to the electricity company to invoice that. And so we're setting up the first invoice, and that will happen in the fall for us, just to get a business model going.
Okay. So I'm excited to hear more once you have the invoice, and then it becomes more
I'll
concrete.
send it to you.
Yeah. Bruno.
Yeah.
What about the models in Lyon? I understand that it was financed completely differently. Of course, the setup was also completely different. What are what is the model that works or works best?
Yeah, for me the key points. So the cornerstone of the financing model is the price of the electricity sold by the producer to the consumers. And this is very tricky to define, because you have to find a balance between the interest of the producer and the interest of the consumers. Yeah. And the producer, so in our case, the public company owned by the city, has invested money to build a PV system and needs to reimburse the bank or the investment made. So this company needs incomes. And on the other side, on the side of the consumers, in order to make them involved in the energy community, they want, as it has been shown in the survey that you did, they want a cheap price of the electricity, or at least cheaper than the conventional electricity. And the gap between the minimum price of the producer and the price paid by the consumer is very narrow.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to find the right this financing model. And the other problem that we have is that the price paid by the consumers moving, and could be higher. And in that case, it's good for the project, for the energy community, or sometimes very cheap. And when the electricity is cheap, then it's very difficult to run the energy community. So we have to find a balance to make it run.
Yeah, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a question, Justin, please.
Yes, I'd like to have a clarification question on this. So do I understand correctly that the tariff paid by consumers, the grid electricity tariff, is dynamic in France? So you have variability in the normal grid electricity and in the energy community price, or could you just clarify that?
Yeah. So there is two effects. So maybe the first one that you have to have in mind is that most of the domestic consumers in France use the electricity regulated by the French state. So the price is defined by the minister, and could be so during the start of the war in Ukraine, so the price in rising up, and now today it was quite cheap, and now with the situation in the Middle East, the price is going up again, and this is something that changed the situation very often, actually. So this is the first things to have in mind. And the second phenomenon that we have.
How frequently? Are we talking about weekly, monthly, or hourly?
No, it's twice a year.
Oh, okay.
So in February and in August we have the new prices, and then we have 4 different tariffs: night, day, and summer, winter. And the cheapest one is, of course, in summer, when the PV system is producing most of its electricity. And then it means that you have a lot of electricity to share when the conventional electricity is very cheap. So it's very tricky for the model. Okay.
Okay, so the French grid is already smart and like encouraging dynamic behavior by changing these prices and letting the markets automatically adjust.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, you're advanced.
Yeah. Thank you, Bruno. And you've just underlined quite well also the importance of resilience that we have discussed previously. That could be one of the motivators of energy communities. Do we have any other questions? I know we are running a bit over time, but if there is any other questions. Okay, so let me ask you then my last question before we say goodbye to everyone. If I was someone that would come to you and ask you, I want to start an energy community in my little block of flats with 50 flats, let's say, what is the one thing that you would tell me to start with and that I need to get right? Jörgen.
Oh, yeah. So organize a community of property owners. That's the first thing you have to do.
Okay. And Bruno, what would you tell me as the best advice?
I would have said the same. Engage your neighbors and discuss the projects, and make sure that you are not alone to have the willing to do so. And then it will happen if you... Then you have to build up a team, of course, with the technicians, professional advisors, but first discuss that with your neighbors, with your inhabitants, and see what, try to learn from the other experience. And I'm sure that around you, there are already similar projects that can be good inspiration for you.
Thank you very much. So we've started from the energy, and then we moved to the point that the community is really the starting point, and that is the most important. And I would like to then thank to our two experts on energy communities who have shared their experience and practice of that in Stockholm, and Jörgen Lööf, and in Lyon, Bruno Gaiddon. Thank you very much. Thanks to all of those in the audience as well. It was really great to have the questions and the comments and the engagement. Thank you very much. We will hopefully meet in a couple of months and have an update on how all of these practical things will go on. Until then, I would like to invite you for the next ASEN Café that will be taking place in April, and follow us on LinkedIn and check out our website so that you are updated and you can see what we are up to. Thank you very much, and I wish you a great afternoon and an amazing weekend.
Thank you, Veronika and Mark.
Thank you very much, Veronika.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To the speakers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.